Breaking news out of the White House. Eamon Javers here with the details. Eamon.
Michelle, that's right. A scorching statement here from the President of the United States towards Steve Bannon, his former political advisor who left the White House earlier this year, or earlier in 2017, I should say. This coming after Steve Bannon has been quoted in a new book by Michael Wolff, which is excerpted in the New York Magazine, just hit the wires a little while ago, has captured the attention of just about everybody here at the White House, in which Bannon says, among other things, that the meeting between Donald Trump Jr. and Russians at Trump Tower during the 2016 presidential campaign was, quote, treasonous and unpatriotic. Now the president responding in very strong language to that comment and the others that Steve Bannon made in that book, which has been excerpted widely. The president saying in a statement just released to the pool reporters here at the White House, Steve Bannon has nothing to do with me or my presidency. When he was fired, he not only lost his job, he lost his mind. Steve was a staffer who worked for me after I had already won the nomination by defeating 17 candidates, often described as the most talented field ever assembled in the Republican Party. Now that he is on his own, Steve is learning that winning isn't as easy as I make it look. Steve had very little to do with our historic victory, which was delivered by the forgotten men and women of the country. The statement goes on in that vein for some 4 paragraphs, Michelle, and this is the response from a president who clearly feels bitterly wounded by one of his former chief political allies. Bannon, not the only figure quoted in that New York Magazine piece. Katie Walsh, the former deputy chief of staff here at the White House, also quoted in that piece, saying that managing President Trump was something like managing a child because of the chaos and confusion of the early days of the Trump administration. The White House will tell you that organizationally, that chaos has declined since General John Kelly became the chief of staff here at the White House a few months ago. But this is a very revealing look inside the early days of the Trump White House. It is being disputed by some in the media sphere because some of the anecdotes are coming under fire for their apparent accuracy or lack thereof. But the White House hitting back here as hard as I've ever seen a White House hit back. This is an astonishing statement by the president.
Yeah, I think the word scorching was accurate that you used at the beginning. I mean, the other thing that's changed dramatically since Steve Bannon left is the number of leaks which suggested that they were all standing in a circle with guns pointed at each other like a firing squad has also been dramatically reduced since his departure. And I also remember,
well, everybody in that firing
squad
has departed as well, right? I mean, Spicer, Priebus, Bannon, you know, Flynn, all of them have departed, right? So those people who are leaking about each other are gone. Omarosa left just before Christmas. So there's been an astonishing amount of turnover here. But I don't mean to interrupt your point, Michelle.
No, I was just going to say, let's go back to that time when Steve Bannon left and everybody thought, you really want to fire this guy? Wouldn't you rather keep him closer? Isn't he so dangerous outside of the White House, running Breitbart, et cetera? You know, he's going to wage war on the White House. And when you look at what's happened in all these months, Steve Bannon hasn't done nearly as well as anybody thought he was going to do.
Right, this statement coming on a day in which a Democrat is being sworn in the United States Senate from Alabama, that after Steve Bannon got deeply involved in the Alabama Senate race on behalf of Roy Moore, the candidate who was defeated in that race. The president in his statement just now calling all of that political acumen into question, saying that the president knows how to win, Steve Bannon doesn't know how to win. This is as fundamental a political divorce between these two men as you can imagine, right?
I mean, well said.
You know, Eamon,
well said.
There's something else. There's something else in the statement that I think strikes at the home and the heart of what we do, which is we have seen in the last year a number of good reporters, high-level media sources have to retract statements or correct stories. The president calling it fake news. You know the reporters, how this works. If you've got a good high-level source in the White House that you think is feeding you good high-level information, you're going to go to your editors and say, this is my source. You don't name them ever in print or on the air. And they say, go with it. It sounds like the president has said that Bannon was leaking bad information either to make himself look good or perhaps, maybe, Eamon, to discredit parts of the other media that they have gone after. That might explain why there's been some of what the president has called, quote, fake news out there in the first place, would it not?
Sure, absolutely. There's a big media piece to this. I mean, the Michael Wolff book is largely about the president's consumption of media, reaction to it, and interactions with high-level media figures. There's an anecdote in there about a meeting between Bannon and Roger Ailes of Fox News, as Fox News was sort of passing on the conservative media baton to Breitbart and Steve Bannon, the sort of generational change among conservative media. That all playing in the background here as sort of the background music. But Michael Wolff, who authored this piece, I can tell you, he was here in the building. I saw him on this driveway behind me a lot this spring through the summer. He was definitely getting into the building quite a bit. They might dispute some of these anecdotes, but Wolff was clearly here. He clearly talked to some people who were willing to go on the record, including Walsh and Bannon and some others who were quoted in that piece. I mean, it is full of revelatory anecdotes, and we'll wait to see for this 3 p.m. press briefing, which is scheduled, what Sarah Huckabee Sanders has to say about any number of these things, including a report in there that Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump made a pledge between the two of them that Ivanka Trump would be the one in that couple to run for president should the political opportunity ever present itself, and that they were positioning themselves for their own political future as a power couple after the Trump administration. All of that will be chewed over by the media in that briefing at 3 o'clock, and it's the reaction here from the White House has been muted until this broadside from the president just now.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.